Hey folks, welcome to another edition of Drive Across Texas. I'm your host, Pat Waters. Today we're in Granbury, Texas at Revolver Brewing. Got my good buddy Grant Wood here. How you doing, man?
Good, Pat. How are
you?
Good.
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having us out, man.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it. Man, what a compound.
Thanks. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Well, that's great. How you do me a favor, man, and tell the viewers how this deal got started and how it got so huge, man.
Sure. Yeah. Well, like I said, my name is Grant Wood. I'm the brewmaster and part owner of Revolver Brewing. We started back in 2012. Myself and two other gentlemen, Rhett and Ron Kiesler, son and father duo. They actually had this idea to build a brewery here in Granbury. They called it Revolver. That was kind of Rhett's idea, and he when he decided to build a brewery, that's the name that really came to him. And the imagery, if you look at the logo, it's the 1847 Walker Colt that was a product of Samuel Walker, the Texas Ranger, and Samuel Colt, the gunsmith. But anyway, so they hired me down. I've been in the brewing business for over 30 years. I started at Pearl Brewing Company and went to Lone Star, and then I left Texas and went to work for Samuel Adams, but felt the call. I thought that there was a good opportunity for building a small brewery here in Texas, and so I left and joined them back in 2012, and we came here and built a brewery. We, like I said, broke ground in 2012 and sold our first keg in September 1, 2012, and this has just been off to the races. And the real horse in that race has been a beer we call Blood and Honey, unfiltered, almost wheat ale with blood orange, Texas honey, a couple spices. It's really captured folks' imagination and really set the mood for our growth, and has really driven us become kind of growing up from a small little brewery in Granbury to a slightly larger brewery in Granbury. So yeah, it's a great time, and it's awesome for, we do have visitors. We're only open on Saturdays though, from noon until 3. And so $10 will get you a glass. It will get you 4 samples. And then we have a band. We'll have a food group in here, either doing, burritos or barbecue or something. And it's just a great time, kind of out in the Texas countryside. We have shade or a roof in case it rains. And so sleet, snow, heat, rain, whatever, the roads are open, we'll be open, and you can come have a beer with us.
And let me ask you, the young man that started this with his father, what was his name?
Rhett.
Rhett
Kiesler.
Yeah, now, I'm curious now, and I know that you told me a while ago that the Blood and Honey was your creation. You formulated it, did all that.
Yeah.
But Rhett is a graduate from the University of Texas.
Yeah.
And you're a graduate from Texas A&M.
That is correct.
So do you tell him on a weekly basis that it took an Aggie to be able to develop a successful formula?
No, I do occasionally bust his chops a little bit, When I named that beer, we created that beer, it actually was inspired by a place that's right down the road from us. A little place called Fall Creek Farms. There used to be a U-pick down there. And a gentleman from there showed up with a bucket of this beautiful reddish honey. And he said, I can't sell it, it's solidified. Can you make beer with it? And I said, yeah, man, I'll make something with it. And just looking at it, tasting it, it was beautiful, red color, really fruity. They had peaches and strawberries down there. And so I thought, how can I put this honey into a beer? And so I came up with a formulation, a little bit of wheat malt, honey, and the color reminded me of blood oranges. And so I was like, well, I'll get some blood oranges and a little bit of spicing, put the brew together, and I called it Blood and Honey for blood oranges and honey. And Rhett came in one day, looked at the board, and he goes, Blood and Honey, what is that? And I said, well, you remember they brought me that honey from Fall Creek Farms. He goes, Blood and Honey, that's a dumb name. No one's ever gonna buy that beer. So I throw that back at him occasionally.
You should. You should.
But again, I didn't even think that was the beer that's really going to take off. We made some other beers. We made a blonde, and we made a Bach, and we made Blood and Honey. But when Rhett and I went out to sell, that's the one that people just gravitated to. They go, I've never tasted a beer like that before. What do you call it? Blood and Honey. What's in it? Blood orange, Texas honey, spices. And they're like, man, bring me a keg of that. And it exploded. It just took off.
You know, I've tried that at several venues that we play. I have had a couple of Blood and Honeys, and it's very distinct taste for sure. And I'm not a huge beer drinker by any stretch of the imagination, but it's really different. So every occasionally I will have one of those out at a venue. But, you know, a while ago we were talking off camera, and you said something about the quantity of the beer that you sold when you first started.
Yeah.
Do you mind giving the viewers like a chronological order of how, just to show them how rapidly this has grown?
Yeah, well, I mean, this whole thing now is just over 6 years old. And so we started in 2012 and sold that first keg September 1. So from September 1 of 12 to December 31 of 12, we sold 500 beer barrels, and a beer barrel is 31 gallons. Okay.
So it's twice the size of a keg.
Twice the size of a regular keg. And so 500 beer barrels in 12, 5,000 beer barrels in 13, 15,000 in 14. I think it was 21,000 in 15, about 23,500 in 16, and then really got going again in 2017, about 32,000, and then in 2018, the last full year, we did a little over 40,000 barrels, about 40,700, I believe, is how many we did. So, really, for me, unbelievable. You know, when I moved back to Texas to start this thing, I thought we'd be making a little beer, selling a little beer, drinking what we had left, and you know, just kind of, I don't know, hanging out in the Texas countryside, and it'd be pretty laid back. But man, that Blood and Honey was a tiger by the tail.
That's great.
So we had to build a cage big enough to hold it, and that's what's happened. It's kind of just grown up over these last years, and like I said, every time, well, almost every time I come through that gate and just sort of look at what we've done in the last 6 years, it blows my mind. I find it really unbelievable sometimes.
Well, I'll tell you what it's a testament to is, you know, my granddad always used to tell me, if you have a great product and you surround yourself with great people, good things are always going to happen. And I can tell by meeting some of the staff that you got great people here at Revolver Brewery.
Appreciate that.
I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you, Grant, and I'll definitely come out here and see you guys again. I'll tell you what, I appreciate it. It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Y'all remember that. Baby's coming from a couple of Texans. Adios.